Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the garage. Kind of doing a little bit of everything right now. As you can see, I have my camera set up. So I'm filming a video on how to do an alignment on a race car. I've already done one on budget DIY setting ride height. The next one's going to be budget DIY setting your alignment, and it's going to incorporate camber and toe. So I'm doing a little bit of everything right now. We have the Type R disassembled. I may have mentioned that in my last video already. We have the splitter back off of the car and out of the car. And right now we are working on resetting the ride height of the car, which will not be in my new video because I've already made a video of that. But as you can see, we have 2 gravel bags, 2 50-pound weights, because I'm about 200 pounds or so. And then we have the steering wheel ratcheted off so that it's pointed straight. My steering wheel is always in different directions. If you watch my racing videos, it's because I'm always playing with my own alignment, breaking things and replacing things last minute and using toe plates to set it up, so the alignment's never straight on the car. Ride height was a little bit off, so this side over here was a little bit high, and that side was a little bit low. And when you're setting ride height, if you have the front left and the rear right tires at the same ride height, and you jack up the front of the car, the rear of the car on the driver left side will sit down. So it's kind of like a seesaw effect. So you have to play. I'm going to play with that right now. I'm probably going to lower this a little bit and then raise the rear a little bit, and then that way hopefully we can get it all settled out, because I don't want to have an uneven cross weight in the car. But that seems to be okay for now. I'm going to show you guys this car that I picked up. So why do I have this in my driveway, you may ask? Well, I have a hoarding problem. That, and it was free. I was told by Bill Fisher and Vicky Fisher from Garage Heroes in Training. Shout out to you guys. I was on their podcast before. They have a cool podcast. They talk about their journey, learning how to work on cars and things like that. And they basically gave me this. So they said, if anyone in Honda Challenge can benefit from having this car, take it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it right now. I just took it from them to kind of save it. I didn't want it to go to the wrecker. And it's not a bad car. It's not in terrible shape. It's not very rusty. There's a little bit of damage to the quarter on this side. The other side's not too bad. But it does come with a very sexy D15 Y7 and an automatic. So beautiful automatic transmission. Looks like it's got the OEM bumper in there somewhere if you can see it. Don't know if you can. Full interior, so we're going to be pulling that out, probably going to part that out, make some money back to pay for the Type R. It does have a fiberglass hood on it. Not sure if it's fiberglass or carbon fiber. It looks to be carbon fiber on the outside, but then on the inside it looks to be fiberglass, so maybe it's a dual composite, who knows. But yeah, so that's sitting there, and we're basically going to get it up in the air, cover it, so that my neighbors don't hate me, and go from there. But right now we are just setting ride height. So I guess I'm going to document a little bit of that, and yeah. All right, so here's what I usually do to go about setting ride height. So I'll usually mark somewhere on the coilover that moves, this coilover itself, and then I'll usually mark the body. I know that this needed to come up. So after marking it, I know that I need to turn the coilover clockwise when facing downwards, okay? That would pull this up. So I did one turn, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the ride heights after that, and that allows me to track the changes that it makes to the chassis as I'm doing it. Okay, so the plates were not greased up as much as I'd have liked, so I greased them up a little bit more. And then when I did it, sure enough, the ride heights changed the way I'd expect. So where it sits at now is 5/16 on the passenger rear, 5/16 on the driver front, so the cross weight is good there. And we have 5/17 up here, and then we have 5 6/16 in the back there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half a turn down on this to try and get the cross weights equal from side to side, and then I can do a half turn here, a half turn there, and see if we can get it to sink down on both the front right and the rear left. So that's what we're going to do. So in order to do that, you know, you guys saw how I marked the coilover for one turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feel with my little finger on the back of here and then mark it, and that will be a half turn, and then I'm going to turn it, get a half turn, which should be good. Setting ride height is probably my least favorite thing to do. So to give you guys an idea, I've lifted the car up and put it back down on the ground probably like 7, 8 times, maybe 7 times I would say. And, you know, I got all the ride heights pretty damn close, and then I found out that the rear sway bar was still connected, which is a no-no, because it prevents the rears from doing what they need to do. So now it's messed up again, so I have to change it all again. But, I mean, to give you guys an idea of what I'm doing, so it's kind of like geometry. So the passenger front and the driver's front are very far off, right? 5/16 and 2/16. Passenger rear and the driver rear are somewhat off by 2/16. Front is off by 3/16, the rear is off by 2/16. You'll see that the passenger side is lower it's about the same height on both sides, but the driver's side is lower in the rear and the front than it is in the rear. So basically, if I said, okay, I'm going to try to lower this driver rear to try and bring it to 5/16, this passenger front will now raise, okay, because it's like a seesaw. When that happens, this front distribution will now be further off, okay? The other option that I could do is I could now take this, raise it so that it's up to 5/16, but now this is going to go down, and this will be further off. So my options are either to give these ones one turn in the opposite direction each side to get them close to each other. That would require lifting the car once from the rear, and then do these turns, 2 turns in the opposite direction to get them closer to each other. That would require 2 lifts in the front. Or I can do 1 lift in the front to get this driver front to 2/16. It would lower this, and then I could do 1 lift in the rear and then turn these opposite ways to get them to lift up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this driver front here to 5 and 5/16 if I can, and then I'll play with the rear and see what that does. All right, so after a lot of time in the garage, I got it pretty close. So the passenger front and the driver front are off maybe 1 to 2/16, which is not ideal, but the passenger rear and the driver rear are dead on. The car will sink over time. That's been my experience, whether it be spring sag or whatever is in the car, I'm not sure. But it's going to sink over time, I think, just from being driven on the track and stuff. So I got it pretty close. Never going to be perfect, but it's with the driver in it, full driver weight in it, and that's kind of all you can ask for. So the next thing that I'm doing is I'm connecting the sway bar. One thing I noticed was these end links are bent. Now, I've seen this happen on the ASR hollow bars before. So what I did is I don't feel like buying another set because they are $100. So what I did was I put them in this vise and I hammered the crap out of them. And this one was bent as well. The bottom piece that you can see, and it's pretty straight now. So I am going to buy, I think PLM sells some replica ones. I'm probably going to buy those just to replace it. And I'm going to make sure that I'm installing them correctly, because there is a chance that I'm installing it incorrectly and it's binding, and that would be bad. That would make my car handle like crap. So I am going to fix this one now, and we'll keep going. All right, and as you can see with this wonderful, having a good vise in your garage is just like, it's amazing. Anyway, yeah, so we got it straightened out, and if you play with the spherical joint in there, the little Heim joint, it still feels pretty good. Success. So I am going to check out the instructions from ASR, ensure that I am installing these correctly, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so apparently this part goes facing upwards and this part goes facing downwards, which is, I believe, how I had it before, which means that it's either binding, it's probably binding when it experiences extreme levels of travel. This happened to one of the other H2 racers when he went off course. So it's possible that when you have an off, it's getting extremely bent, but I didn't really have any off. So I guess I will probably buy another set of arms. I will probably bring a 188 wall bar with me so that I don't have to put it on full stiff. And then I will put these in for now. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the car on the ground. That sway bar side is connected and this side is not. So this is a level surface. With the car on the ground, we will now connect the sway bar in the rear. In theory, what that does is it allows the car to have a more neutral spring, it's not preloaded. The spring is not preloaded, essentially. So we're going to see how that works. Yeah. All right, guys, you know, as usual, this stuff never goes easy. It's always like, yeah, I'm going to throw a new final in the car, and I'm going to set ride height, and I'm going to align it. it's never that easy. So I'm probably gonna end up getting some new end links, because the end links they were bent, and it is aluminum. So if it's gonna, you know, mechanical engineering stuff I don't understand. If it's gonna bend, it's probably gonna break at some point. That's the first thing. Second thing that I noticed, and I don't know if you guys have this problem. Anyone out there with a hollow bar can let me know. So this is a 120 wall bar on full stiff. Let's put this here. So with the 120 wall bar on full stiff, this is the end link. And if we swing it down, you can see how it's very, very close. This part is very close to the top part of this control arm. When you throw in these spacers, it gets even more awkward. And so what happens is when you have suspension travel, this bends. So I don't know why ASR designed the arms to not work at full stiff. This is an Integra rear lower control arm, and this was designed for a regular Integra. It was not designed for a Type R. I did have Type R arms and I had that same problem. So I guess I have two options. I guess one option is to file down this this forward-facing part, so that the arm sits closer to vertical. And then the other option, I guess, is to run a 188 wall bar at a softer setting. I don't know. Yeah, I appreciate USA made parts, but sometimes I just, you know, the support you get in the racing industry is just, sometimes it's like a, anyway, we'll figure that out. But the good news is the ride height is all set for this turd. And pretty much just figure out that sway bar issue. I have sway bars on the wall somewhere over there. And then after that, align the car. And I was going to put a 4.9 final drive in the car. The 4.7 is very long at the horsepower that my car is currently at. Gearing is very important, and a car that is going to be lower on horsepower compared to the other cars you're racing. So that's a disadvantage, but if I can get the car set up well in the corners, my hope is I can pull away and defend. We'll see. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys watching. This was a little bit longer, I guess, a little bit more detailed, but yeah, this is kind of the stuff that goes into race prep. It's like normal for me. So anyway, thanks for watching, and take it easy.